Hi friends! Today we are making a journal out of this pretty little hair oil box that I have. Obviously I wanted to try out the hair oil. I can't give you a review yet. I've only been using it for a couple of days and I'm historically terrible at regularly using the same products, so I can't tell if it makes a difference. It does smell really good though, so there's that. But the package was really pretty and I fall prey to buying something because I like the box or the packaging so bad, and it's just a cherry on top when I like the product too. So this box, I loved that it had the clear window on it, the color of the pink, the colors of the flowers. It just inspired this whole big creating a digital kit project to fit inside this silly little box. So plus, you know, I feel like most people who junk journal are like this. We like packaging. We like reusing the pretty things. We don't want to throw it away because, as my dad always said, you know, that's a good box. Don't throw that box away, you know? So we are looking at kind of getting a preview at the digital kit that I'm working on for this. It's the size of the box I'm working on, but obviously you don't have to have a box. You can use cardstock. You can use these papers and just put them on top of some cards, you know, a different box that's ugly, whatever you want to do. Just, you know, make the covers a little thicker. But I've printed these on, I think it's 120 or 150 GSM paper. I want to try some nicer paper, like a 300 grain, but at least with this you can print on both sides on that weight and it doesn't come through. I'll show you that later in the video. But this in particular, obviously I didn't want all that text on the back of my journal, so I'm covering it up with this French lithography paper. And something I really like about this whole thing is, like, I can adjust the sizes and I can print them as many times as I want. I am planning on this being a digital kit, but I know a lot of people don't want to deal with their printer, don't know what settings to use, don't want to deal with fussy cutting. So I'll probably also be offering printed versions of this with the fussy cut flowers and that kind of stuff already cut out to fit to send like in snail mail. I actually, in my last video when I asked those questions, I had a couple people say that they would rather buy just the paper kit up front. So I'll probably offer both. In either case, I'm using an acetone based glue to do all of my adhering because it doesn't warp, and especially gluing papers together, that is a problem you have with water-based glue. So if you're new to this kind of junk journaling, be advised that's a good idea. Or using really strong double-sided tape, that works too. But anyway, so with this box in particular, as I said, I liked the window and I like the colors, and the whole thing was kind of inspired by the color scheme of the flowers up the spine. And so I just wanted to cover up the branding and the stuff that made it look like a makeup box instead of, you know, a pretty little journal. So I am fussy cutting some Victorian postcard flowers from the kit, as well as a little bottle, a bottle painting graphic that I actually have available as a sticker in my shop, but I wanted to use those in this because obviously it's March, it's springtime. I'm thinking about my garden. I just planted some stuff, my snow peas. Finally, I'm able to harvest little peas here and there. I've gotten like 10 so far, and it's just the best thing. And so my brain is on plants, and that's what I wanted, plus the flowers on the box. I wanted this to be kind of like Darling Cottage Garden Journal is what I'm going with. And so I wanted it to look like there was a bottle on the front and then some flowers on the first page coming up through the bottle. The way it worked out, I probably should have used one of the different flowers, the like single stem flowers I have in the kit instead of the bunch of flowers I used, just so you can see the flower better through the window. You'll see that later, but whatever, it's still pretty. I still like how it turned out. So anyway, I wanted to use the window as decoration, and I like how it worked out. Anyway, so continuing on with this, I do have this labeled as a no-sew, so you're going to see some sewing, but it's not for the spine. It's just to add decoration, to create pockets, and it can all be used with glue. The way that I am adhering the pages together, making the signatures, it's actually just kind of layering on the seams with glue. So if you don't have a sewing machine or needle and thread or wax thread, or if the sewing part is really intimidating to you, especially if you're a beginner with junk journals, I wanted to make this and keep that in mind for you. And the way the kit is created, I also kind of made it to where you have the layered pictures. I'm going to suggest printing, double-sided printing. I kind of made the mistake with the first couple pages I printed of not doing that. I worked it out, and you'll see different ways that I tried to fix that. One is just gluing them back to back, and it makes the pages more sturdy anyway. You could also glue on just, 3 of the edges so that you're able to use them as pockets. I didn't do that. I wanted them to be really thick so that I can sew or glue extra little pockets and belly bands and stuff on them in next week's episode. But I just wanted to make some strong pages as well as some, softer pages. Anyway, I'm again used my sewing machine just for this. This is not to layer it. This is not to create the signature itself. You could simply run some glue around those edges to create this pocket. So my goal was to create something that is beginner friendly, budget friendly, and does not require a whole lot of anything, a whole lot of tools, except for glue and scissors, basically, because most people have that in their home. So the way I designed this kit, I wanted to have fussy cut options, but I know some people prefer like white background so it doesn't use as much ink on their printer, but I wanted to offer things that could be fussy cut or used as just a straight up background for a page. And so that's why I did it that way. So plus it's not like, it's light color, so hopefully it's not too taxing on your ink stores. And I ended up realizing it was not aligned properly to the window because I wanted it to look like that. Like there was flowers inside the little pot that was on the little bottle that was on the front. So I extended it and moved it a little bit and then used a little bit of this washi tape to reinforce the spine of these 2 pages. And then I'm going to stitch a little bit of pink lace on the edge to cover up that kind of blank white edge of the other page. And this is something I really love about creating a journal. I love making the pages in a pre-made journal because I can focus on the page itself and it's more like artwork or like the highbrow artwork thing. But I really like how adaptable you have to be when you're creating a journal from scratch, because you have things like this come up, you have an idea and you have to adjust, and the artwork is the entire journal. It's one giant piece that you can express yourself, and you have to think about pockets and hiding places and all these places where you can put tuck spots for your writing or for other things, the interactive elements. I loved Polly Pockets, and I loved all of those little interactive tiny toys when I was a kid, and I think that has somehow translated into liking tiny interactive journals as an adult. So that's what I wanted this to be. And with the bottles, there's a selection of bottles, and then there's a selection of flowers, and I wanted to be able to, change out the flowers and have them kind of loose, and maybe write some things on the flowers or on the backs of the flowers, and just have little secret messages to myself that I can tuck in and move around, and make, little paper bouquets and put them in the bottles and, pockets. And I also use vellum here to print out one of the pages. And the things that are on the vellum, those are actually, some of them are from Victorian postcards, fussy cut from Victorian postcards, but the just backgrounds, those are actually 18th century French wallpapers and silks, and they're really pretty. So I am excited to kind of have those as a see-through option. I wanted those to be able to cover things up. I don't know, I think vellum is just so romantic looking, and it's so, you can write on it. It's just very ethereal and fairy-like, because it reminds me of fairy wings, because, you can kind of see through it, but you can also see the design that's on it, and I just really like using that in my journals. And I don't use staplers very often in journals, but I felt like that was appropriate here because I wanted this to be a flip-up option. And I could have done Brad's, but the sun was gone. I got lazy, so stapler to the rescue. I've had this tiny Hello Kitty stapler since I was probably 12 years old, so I like using it whenever I can. And the staple kit little pack that I have with it, the staples are different colors, like they're pink and blue and yellow and green. It's cute. Anyway, so this page y'all saw last week, that's what I made the secret journal page out of. And I printed off some more and then printed on the back that really big size piece to, I like that it had lines on it so that, it's places for me to actually write. And it gives me the option of, if I want to, do kind of an art piece, I can, but I also have the option to write on it. And then with these two, because of the flip parts, the vellum flipping, I didn't want it to be connected. So this is a really good way to create a spine on pages and connect pages, especially if they're not, the size to fold in half and run through a sewing machine or whatever. This is an easy way to connect two pages, especially if you're scrap busting to create texture as well with different layers. And that was just a scrap from the first page that I was cutting on earlier. And so, of course, I wanted to incorporate my little secret page. This is going to be the center of one of the signatures because it's so thick, especially when it's open. So I decided that this was just all going to be lots of layers and hidden tuck spots. Here I was going to use this little extra tab on the back page to help connect it, but I realized I cut it on the wrong, like I set the other papers in the wrong direction, and I'm just gonna do what I had previously done and just add an extra outside piece, probably either fabric or lace. But now I'm just going to be gluing all of these pieces together for the first signature that involves the cover, because it needs some time to dry, and then I'll work on the second signature. As I said, I'm not finishing this journal in this video. This is mostly the nuts and bolts of the bones of building all of the signatures, and then I'm going to be putting it together and creating little interactive ephemera elements and finishing it next week. This is an 1880s train ledger that I found, And I like it because the writing is very light, and then the pages are still really strong for how old it is. I've sent this out with Ephemera Club a couple of different times, just adding like bubble ink background and that kind of thing. It's pretty sturdy paper, and it's so cool seeing somebody's handwriting from so long ago. It's such a legacy of the things that outlive us. It's really cool to work with, and it feels very special to have such an old piece of something in my little art journal here. So anyway, speaking of Ephemera Club, I wanted to go ahead and thank Ephemera Club for supporting me this month. Tanya, Tracy, Shayna, Krista, Donna, Cindy, Abigail, Kathleen, Joanna, Rebecca, Sasha, Patsy, Teresa, Effie, Kim, Emily, Carly, Carrie, Leprechaun Mom, Britt, Alicia, Kenna, Rachel, Denise, W, Ariel, Rachel, and Jennifer. So thank you so much. If you don't know what that is, there's Inspiration Club, which is digital benefits only. I create a printable depending on what y'all vote on, the theme y'all vote on every month, and you can print it as many times as you want and use it in your journals, as well as a prompt or a pretty quote. And then Ephemera Club is a monthly subscription where I send out a happy snail mail of things that I've created and designed and printed and die cut and made into stickers or vintage pieces I've found. So it changes every month. I have a lot of fun making these little parcels, and they are limited edition. Like, you get this parcel once, I don't sell them to anybody else. And so they are really special pieces. And some of them I'll eventually put in my shop, but my life is very busy and I don't have time to do this. And the shop, I like having the little group of us to hang out and do all of this stuff together. So anyway, if you're interested, feel free to follow the link in the description box. But otherwise, we're going to continue with the tutorial. So as I said earlier, I wanted this signature to have just all of the folding and pockets and hidden spaces in it. And so I thought about it too late that I could have made this particular piece into a pocket. But then I realized, you know what, it can be just a whole hidden fold out underneath this piece of vellum, and that's cool enough. That's fine. I can always add a little pocket on the inside or something. But I just wanted this to have lots of writing spaces and little opportunities to add things. And these little frames are just so pretty. I was excited to find those and kind of cut those to the way I wanted. Because, with being on vellum, I think I'm going to write a quote or maybe put a little picture or something behind that frame so that it comes through, but it looks a little ghosty. And then, as I was talking about earlier with the bottles, I'm creating a little pocket out of one of the bottles, and that way I can create a little bouquet to myself that can change and move the flowers around. And I think because it's a garden journal, I have a few more interactive surprises that have to do with a seed packet and an envelope. So I have to work on that this week, and it should be ready to launch at the same time as the final video in the series goes up. So hopefully I get there. But I don't know, it just made me, I'm planting my garden with my kids right now, and they're excited to pick out all of the different things. Plus we have all of these wildflowers starting to come up in the yard. I live in South Texas, if you're new around here, so our growing season is pretty long, and if we want to grow anything that most people in the United States or Europe grow, the northern hemisphere have to grow things in March and April and June, or like they just start seeds, and here we have to start a lot earlier because our heat is so intense that it kills everything during the summer. And so our summer is a lot like other, further north people's winter, because unless they're native plants, they can't handle the heat. And so they'll stop producing, like cucumbers and tomatoes, even though they're hot weather plants, they'll stop producing late June through September here because it just gets too hot. So anyway, we are in the midst of doing all of that, and very excited. I'm trying bumblebee tomatoes this spring, so they're supposed to be yellow and pink stripy. And let me know what your favorite varieties of plants are. Even if you don't have a garden, even if you don't grow, like if you like to buy yourself flowers, or you have special, you know, fruits or vegetables you like to buy at the store, or whatever, just tell me in the comments what your favorite thing is, because I'm always looking for new varieties to try. I like growing crazy stuff I can't find in the grocery store. So anyway, I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next week. Bye.